My name is Samantha, and I'm 32 years old, and I've been married to my husband for 3 years, but we don't have any children yet. My husband and I live in an apartment together, and we only see each other's parents at Festival of Souls and New Year's. Especially since my husband's parents' house is far away, we can only go at these times. But many relatives gathered, and it was lively at that time. My parents-in-law are friendly people and treat me like a real daughter. When my relatives get together and have a banquet, they give me various orders to help me. There is no sarcasm, and I enjoy working with my parents-in-law. My husband has a sister, whose name is Miranda. This one has a difficult personality and does not help her parents at all. My mother-in-law talks to me with a reluctant face while preparing for a banquet. It's easier to talk to you about anything than my own daughter. I end up asking for your help. Even my mother-in-law seems to be concerned about her own daughter. She complained that she couldn't talk to her daughter casually. Miranda graduated from a preparatory school and entered a prestigious university. My father-in-law boasted that she would study abroad this time, but my mother-in-law was concerned about her personality. Miranda, who has been excellent in everything she does since she was little. She has a pretty big attitude and disrespects her brother, who is my husband. When relatives gathered, someone called out to Miranda. Both of my siblings here are amazing when they go to college. Hearing that, Miranda glared at her relatives and said back sullenly, "Don't combine my university with the third-class university that my brother graduated from. Even if you graduate from a university like that, you'll still be the same as a high school graduate." Miranda's words silenced the place, but my husband began to speak attentively. "I only went to a third-class university, but I got a beautiful wife like this. I'm happy because I'm living happily." Thanks to my husband, who speaks playfully, all the relatives are smiling again, but the sister-in-law does not seem to be amused. The brunt of Miranda's anger is directed at me because I'm complimented as a beautiful woman. What university did Miranda go to? Miranda knew that I was a high school graduate, but she asked me on purpose. I'm not embarrassed to be a high school graduate, so I'll be honest. You know, I only graduated from high school. Miranda exaggerates and screams with a surprised face. I'm sorry, because my brother is proud of his wife. I always thought you were a college graduate, and there are people who are high school graduates these days, aren't they? So saying, she left in front of all her relatives. Some of my relatives had graduated from high school, so the atmosphere was heavy again. My husband and mother-in-law had no choice but to bow to their relatives and apologize to everyone. After graduating from university, Miranda went on to graduate school, and after graduating from graduate school, she decided to study abroad. Before leaving for study abroad, my wife and relatives gathered at my parents-in-law's house. When I was about to see Miranda off, she said sarcastic things to me as usual. I don't think Miranda, who graduated from high school, has ever studied abroad, but it's hard unlike traveling. My husband was about to say back to Miranda, who was talking proudly, but I stopped him and went with a smile. Yes, it's dangerous overseas, and the food is different, so be careful. I was going to talk to her out of kindness, but she suddenly became angry. You've never studied abroad, so don't talk like you know. Although the gathered relatives became unpleasant again. Miranda left to study abroad with a blank face. My father-in-law, who paid for her study abroad, laughed and talked with a tired face when she was gone. After a year of studying abroad, I want her to get a job at a good company and get paid a lot. I don't know how much money I spend on her. My husband is laughing while listening to his father. She's going to come back in the fall and work for a few companies in the form of an internship, right? She was bragging to me about taking on a foreign-owned company. My mother-in-law also joined the story and was worried about getting a job for her. I didn't think it had anything to do with me, so I cleaned up after my relatives left. When Miranda, who brags about her high education and made fun of me, disappears. It was fun to go to my parents-in-law's house. I cooked with my mother-in-law, and my father-in-law told me stories from my husband's childhood. It was a really good atmosphere without Miranda. It had been half a year since Miranda had gone to study abroad, and I had almost forgotten about her. My sister is going to come back next week and start working as an intern. My dad contacted me to say she wanted to work for one company for a month. Just listening to Miranda's story makes me feel bad, so I answered my husband. I'm sorry for you, but I don't want to see her. My husband suddenly turns serious and says, I don't want to see her either. My dad is in debt because of her, and I don't like her because she's always bragging about her high education. I wonder if he cares about me, and my husband makes remarks that seem to hate his sister in front of me. In any case, I tried not to go to my parents-in-law's house while Miranda was returning home. I was discussing it with my husband, but we would meet his sister again in an unexpected place. The next day, when I came to work, my company would have an internship. The Human Resources Department reported that one international student was going to arrive. I was thinking that I was accepting international students. They are accepting international students who are actually studying abroad. When I was given a list of international students to accept, I froze when I saw their names. It's Miranda. Our company has the business of introducing foreign workers to companies in the U.S. Even though they are foreign workers, we may introduce positions such as lawyers, interpreters, and sometimes executives. On the other hand, we also introduced people to overseas companies. Miranda told me that she was studying economics at university or graduate school. She may be an expert in that field. Our company is staffed by people who can speak foreign languages and are familiar with foreign laws. I didn't care about the internship because it was decided by the HR department. When Miranda comes, I feel down. I don't think she will join our company. I didn't know why she was coming for an internship at this company, which was not a large company. I asked the HR person about the internship. It's rare to have an internship at our company, isn't it? The person spoke with a troubled face. That's right, it seems that the country wants to popularize internships, so they forced it. When I am told that her grades are bad, I think that this person has just the same name as Miranda, who is proud of her educational background. I had already told them about it, and since it was an internship, I decided to accept it as it was. I wasn't sure if I should tell him that his sister was coming. But I decided to keep quiet for the time being. There is a possibility that she has the same last name, and I thought that it would not be a problem to talk to her after I found out that she was really Miranda. About a month later, an international student came for an internship. I was the first to arrive at the office as usual, and I cleaned the office. Many of the employees are foreigners, so they all have a business-like mindset. No one comes in before work hours to clean the office. I don't force anyone else to do it, so I was always the one who wiped down the desk or mopped the floor. A woman came in and greeted me sullenly. Good morning. I'll be starting a new internship from today. I'm Miranda, nice to meet you. It seems that she came to work before the time for the first time, or she was nervous. Or maybe it wasn't the big company she wanted, and it wasn't interesting, but it seemed to greet me reluctantly. When I was greeted, I unconsciously returned the greeting to Miranda. Good morning. She and I looked at each other for a moment. She talked to me like she always makes fun of me. Miranda, what are you doing here? After all, you're a high school graduate, so you're a cleaner, aren't you? Her nervous face suddenly changed to a smile, and she was back to her cheeky sister-in-law. I'm dressed in work clothes and a white hood on my head, so I look like a cleaning lady from every angle. I immediately resumed cleaning and spoke to her with a smile. You're doing an internship from today. I'm sure you'll be confused by all the things you're not used to, but do your best. When she heard that, she laughed and said back, "What the hell is the janitor talking about? Finish cleaning up quickly and get out." The other employees also came there, and she returned to her nervous face again. After I finished cleaning, I went into the back room with the employees and changed my clothes. At our company, we have a morning meeting at the beginning of work. In the office, all the employees and Miranda, who was nervous and stiff, were lined up. When I walked in, everyone greeted me. Miranda saw me and glared at me and said, "Outsider cleaners, don't come in." All the employees were surprised by this one word and warned her. "What are you saying to our president?" Even though I was called the president, she didn't seem to know what they were talking about, and she shouted at me again. "High school graduate janitors, get out of here quickly." The HR person next to her is in a hurry to persuade her to shut up. I'm the president of this company, but I was wearing work clothes earlier, so I must have looked like a real cleaner. Still, she doesn't seem to believe what I said, so she checks with the HR person. I heard that this company is a foreign-affiliated company. Why is such a person called the president? The person in charge was also surprised to find out that she was Miranda for the first time, so I explained it to her instead. It's true that it's a foreign-affiliated company, but I'm the president of the corporation. When I'm at work, I used my maiden name before I got married, so you might not know, right? After graduating from high school, I moved to the US when I was over 20 years old. I started working for the founder of this company and helped introduce France to national companies. Our business performance was strong, and 5 years ago we decided to expand into the US. I also came back to the US and became the president of a national corporation. Even after listening to my explanation, Miranda still didn't seem to be convinced. After the morning meeting, I called her and the person in charge to talk. Just because she's Miranda, don't treat her specially. Regardless of whether you get a job here or not, you need to understand how hard it is to work. The person in charge answered with a smile, but I could see that she was clearly upset. It seems humiliating to be ordered by me she always made fun of. She looked like she was about to cry and kept looking down. After that, I leave all her actions to the person in charge, and I don't touch it at all. After the day's work, I asked the person in charge how she was doing. "How was Miranda?" The person in charge replied with a reluctant face. "She can't do anything, but she's got a lot of pride. Also, she's a difficult person to use. I've only seen it for 1 day, but it's better not to hire her at this company. It seems that she doesn't have any language skills even though she has studied abroad. The biggest problem is the lack of communication skills. With the attitude of Miranda, who doesn't listen to others, it will be difficult no matter which company she would go to." When I got home that day, I was going to report to my husband that Miranda had come for an internship. However, before I did, my husband started talking about his sister. "Did Miranda go to work at your company as an internship?" My dad called me and asked me if she could get a job. My husband continues even though I'm still shocked. "It seems that she had an interview with a large company, but it seems that she have been rejected by the application screening process. Isn't it advantageous for your company to be able to speak English?" My husband doesn't seem to know much about my company, so I'll tell him. Of course, English is mandatory, but Miranda doesn't seem to speak that much. And today, she mistook me for a cleaning woman and made fun of me as a high school graduate in front of all the employees. My husband was stunned when he heard these words, and he seemed to realize that it would be difficult to get a job at my company. Miranda came to my office for a week and watched the flow of work. From the following week, she stopped coming to work without contact. The person in charge contacted her many times, but it seems that the mobile phone is turned off and cannot be connected. I was asked to contact Miranda's parents' house, but I flatly refused. A person who is absent from work without permission is disqualified as a member of society. Tell the head office the facts and let them know that the internship is over. I'll confirm the safety of her privately, so it'll be fine. When I called my parents-in-law, my mother-in-law told me that Miranda was locked in her room. For my sister-in-law who has never experienced a setback before, it seems that it is only humiliation to be used by others. However, she would not want to abandon her pride in their high education and change her arrogant attitude. When I got home, my husband asked me again because he was asked by his father. It looks like Miranda has withdrawn at my parents' house. Can we do something about it? Even if I was asked if I could do something about it, I would be in trouble. As for my father-in-law, he wants me to introduce her to a different foreign-affiliated company and get her a job there. If you look at Miranda's educational background, it seems that there is a company that will talk to her. I felt that it was difficult because she herself is oriented towards a large company. My husband seemed to know that, and said it with a resigned face. No matter how much my dad wants to do that, it's up to Miranda to decide. After that, Miranda stopped studying abroad and returned to her parents-in-law's house. She becomes a full-fledged recluse and does not show her face to her parents. When my father-in-law called me and we went to my parents-in-law's house, Miranda locked herself away. And my father-in-law asked me to find a job for her again. I thought it would be best to check with him, so I checked in front of Miranda's room. If it's not a big company, I'll introduce you to a company that might hire you. Miranda yelled back, as I thought. I'm not going to be taken care of by a high school graduate. On the contrary, she would get angry when I talked to her, so I tried not to get involved with her after that. My husband has stopped talking to me about his sister, and even if I go to my parents-in-law's house, I don't call her. It's a waste to go all the way to graduate school and study abroad. My parents-in-law were also worried about Miranda, but when they found out that I was pregnant, they seemed to be worried about it this time. I don't want my child to grow up to be an adult who is full of pride and has no ability. When I look at Miranda's current appearance, I don't care about her educational background.